Happy Sunday and happy Easter to all of you out there. We are live with Toilets and Titles on a Sunday night. One of the best Sunday nights of the year, I can say. Um, with me, as always, on these weekly roundtables, and I say as always, as our second, is Frito Bandito or Rich himself. Rich, say hey, hello to all the people.
What up, Title Tribe? Great to be back again, and not so much a lot of news, but some interesting news this week per se.
Yeah, 4 hours ago or so, I was getting ready to message you and go, look, there's a little bit of stuff here, but maybe on Easter we go ahead. There's not enough. Maybe we just go ahead and cancel this week.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of NFL news. Hey, I was going to say the NFL for the first time in a long time didn't own all the headlines for for sports. Baseball starting to rear up, and NFL didn't have a lot of news. So I thought maybe we'd give it up, and then some news hit, and here we are. Frito, I know you're exhausted. You just got back from a basketball game.
Yeah.
Thunder over
Yeah, I
over
went
the
and watched.
Grizzlies.
Me and my son went and watched the Thunder play the Grizzlies. Grizzlies are pretty. They clinched. I think they first in their division. The Thunder, they had pretty much already clinched their playing, so they're playing in to get into the tournament. I mean, so it was all second players. I mean, still a great game and stuff like that. It's always funny when you have your second tier of players playing against the same kind of caliber players. I mean, it turned out to be a good game. Freaking man, who's the kid's name from Grizzlies?
Oh, Bolton.
No, I can't think of it. Lofton from the Grizzlies came from the D League, right? G League, and the dude put up like close to 40 points. I mean, freaking stellar game and everything. And he's pretty much what kept them in there. And then, like I said, the Thunder, they had a pretty decent game all around from all their players. They had like 3 people in the over 20, so good game and stuff like that. It's always good to watch something like that,
Absolutely. Yeah, I haven't been to. So I'm in Florida, just outside of Orlando, and they've been so bad for so long. I haven't gone to a game in a while, even though tickets are dirt cheap. But I do get an itch every once in a while to go see an NBA game, and I'll probably now that you've gone, and I'll have to go do that. And the season's ending. Magic, of course, aren't in the playoffs yet again. So next season, we'll do it next season.
This is our second game we went to in the past 3 weeks. So just had some extra time, and me and my son went. So
yeah, always cool. All right, so to get some of the plugs and stuff out of the way up front, toiletstitle.com, videos, articles, pretty much everything you need from the NFL and fantasy there. Lots of cool articles. Also, if you do patreon.com/toiletstitles, you get into our gilded chat. You can get into the Frank and Stank League. I said that backwards. And all kinds of good stuff. You get to talk directly to us in our gilded chat, which is kind of cool.
And jump in all our mock drafts.
And jump in every single mock draft. That's one thing I did want to bring up. George is going crazy with mock drafts. It was supposed to be Mondays, but it's basically if the day ends in Y, George is doing a mock draft on it. It feels like, and doing a great job. We're compiling all the data to get ADPs, like doing real good work. I know Generally Aware is helping him with that. So toytitle.com, all the cool stuff, Patreon, and again, shows Tuesday night, Wednesday night. There, we've got a dedicated Cowboys show. We got a dedicated Giants show. We've got the title Tuesday night show. We've got this show. We've got college shows.
Yes,
we're releasing shorts. That if you're not seeing our stuff, it's because you're trying to not see our stuff. But go to youtube.com, subscribe. It helps us out a ton. Watch some videos and enjoy. Like, we've got something. If you like football, we've got something for you.
Yes, and to everybody that does follow us, thank you for this past week. We had 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So hashtag Title Tribe. We really do appreciate you.
Yep. All right. Also, always 5-star Apple reviews are cool. They help too. They help the algorithm. You get pushed harder if you get the 5-star reviews. So give us some 5-star reviews. So we mentioned there was some news by the time you're listening to this. If you're not watching us live, Odell Beckham Jr. has signed with the Baltimore Ravens, and within the last hour or so, the contract the contract information has come out. $13.85 million signing bonus, 1.165 base salary, and $3 million in possible incentives. And reading on Twitter, there's a couple of guys who are really in tune to what the Ravens' contracts are and what their salary cap is. And they're mentioning that there's probably a decent amount of void years. With the void years, that means if they don't re-sign him next year, he will count 11 million against their cap. So likely they're going to try and make it a multi-year deal and not take an $11 million hit next year, but to be determined. So Rich, good signing, bad signing. What do you think?
Man, strange signing. So I would have liked it better because initially the talk was that he was going to he visited with the Jets, and I think he would have been a better fit with Rodgers over with the Jets, with Garrett Wilson and the entourage they have going on there. Weird, just because of everything that's going on with the Ravens, with Lamar Jackson and everything. So they haven't locked him up yet. I mean, yeah, everybody's saying he's going to play there and stuff. A lot of people are saying he ain't going to play there now. So it's strange that the Beckham signing happened now instead of after, say, Lamar Jackson signing everything. Now, with that being said, if Lamar Jackson does sign, okay, great. It gives Jackson another a good receiver to throw to and everything. Guys, go out there and prove it to us again and everything. But if he goes out there and shows out like Odell shows out, I like it. I really like it for is Andrews.
Yeah, it does take some coverage away from Andrews, something he needed last year when Rashad went down, didn't get it. I don't know, man. It doesn't make sense to make a deal like this to me unless you know you're going to get Lamar back. But you got to do something to keep your fans happy too. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be if Lamar's not there and what they're planning on doing, but you've got to do something for the fans in case he doesn't play. I guess this is it, but it doesn't make a lot of sense for somebody like OBJ other than the fact that they probably far and away overpaid what any other team, we were hearing reports of offers of like 8 to 10 million and expecting probably a signature around 12. And then he gets an offer from the Ravens at 18, and that'll make you play with a bad quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and maybe, maybe this signing is an in track of maybe they already know something that just everybody else doesn't know yet. Maybe something's going on behind the scenes that, hey, let's throw this in there to entice Jackson. Maybe he said, hey, get Odell here. And I mean, there's so many things that could be drawn up for this and everything. So it's just interesting to see what's going to happen.
Junior Polk, the Dimitri fan, YMCA, and then Uptown Funk. And I'm not 100% sure what I don't know if I missed a reference. Did I say something? Junior Folk, you're gonna have to point out why we're talking about Uptown Funk, and then even Thomas. I don't know. But hey, look, if you're in here and you're commenting and you're watching, thank you very much. You can throw song titles at me all night. We'll figure out how to wrap it in. I don't know. It's good. Like I said, it's gonna. I don't know. So it's gonna be a short show, guys. There wasn't whole lot of news, so we're gonna get through some of this. But so with this, we can talk about what it's gonna be. It's just another. It's absolutely just another wide receiver that Rodgers isn't gonna get to play with. It's kind of like his lot in life is to pine after these wide receivers and they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure they haven't come out with what the Jets were going to offer. I had read stories earlier in the day they were going to meet with Odell tomorrow, which is probably what why the Ravens overpaid. They didn't want him leaving.
Very true.
And then this one I understand, which is very nice. Thank you. Happy Easter to you as well. And then he asks if I can talk to him, please. I'll talk to you all night, man. Give me a call. I gave you my number last show. I hope you still have it. All right. So in other news, the Browns are not re-signing Kareem Hunt. Was reported by Pro Football Talk earlier today. They think he's lost some speed. So Hunt, we've got Hunt, Zeke, Fournette, McKinnon still out there. You think any of these guys are going to get teams prior to the draft, or you think all these teams are waiting to see what they can get out of the draft, and then they'll go and kick the tires on somebody like Zeke, somebody like Fournette?
I think exactly what you said. I think kind of pretty much in a standstill right now with the draft like 3 weeks away. We're going to see what happens there, and then you'll start seeing them fill in some roster spots. Out of the four, I still like Hunt out of the four for everybody. I say they lost some speed. He said lost some speed. I don't know what happened in the last 2 months since the end of the season and everything. I mean, he still could catch the ball out of the backfield. It's an interesting move, but I like it for Chubb.
Yeah, it's great for Nick Chubb, who they were talking, they were rumored to be shopping around earlier in this offseason. But they didn't get any takers. He's still there.
Yeah.
Hunt being gone, you got to figure they're in the market for another running back, maybe one in the draft. But you're right. Like, assuming they don't grab somebody early, it's great for Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I agree.
So, speaking of teams who probably need a running back, aggravated menacing charge has been refiled against Joe Mixon for earlier in the year when he allegedly pointed a gun at a woman. They had originally dropped the charge until they did some further investigating, and after further investigating, they brought the charge back.
Yeah, so this is Bengals haven't dropped him yet. I like to think that they're going to after this, with this coming up. Look, this is his second incident involving aggravated assault against a female. One back in college, and then one recently, and everything. Man,
yeah. He also had an incident happen at his property. He wasn't involved.
I did see that too. Yep.
Yeah, he had an incident at his property where somebody was shot, and that, again, I don't think he was even there then, but it kind of goes to like just bad stuff following him around. The thing in college, I think he actually hit somebody, pregnant woman, right? Wasn't that the
college? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know if she was pregnant. I just know they have video of them in a bar or restaurant or something like that.
So, multiple strikes. He also wasn't very efficient last season. We can easily see the Bengals moving on. Samaje Perine did leave though, so yep. It's slim pickings there at Cincinnati. Maybe they'll kick the tires on Hunt, Zeke, something like that. There's guys out there, right? So they have options if they don't get one of the guys they want in the draft. So again, running backs being a dime a dozen now helps some of these teams like the Bengals. Yeah, George, this is George's comment. How can you tell you made it? You have a troll spamming comments. Look, I said it earlier, George, and I appreciate you watching, listening, or at least paying attention. I told Junior Polk and the Dimitri fan that he can keep posting. I'll keep putting them up. I don't care. It just means somebody's paying attention to us. I'm in on that. And he wants me to talk to him. I told him to call me maybe after the show, but he doesn't feel like doing that, so it's fine. It's fine. All right. Next up, the Chiefs signed Richie James, one of the few big signings this week. And when I say big, it's air quotes big. Richie James had a small breakout last season with 596 yards, 57 receptions, and 4 touchdowns. The guy balled out last year with Daniel Jones. He had a quarter of all Daniel Jones touchdowns last year. Now he goes to Patrick Mahomes and that offense from the Chiefs. Not the most dynamic, physically gifted wide receiver, but showed he could. George, exactly. I fixed it a little bit. Look, not the biggest signing ever, not the most talented wide receiver, but showed he could do well with a guy like Daniel Jones on a team like the Giants, whose offense was just okay last year. So being able to go to Kansas City to have Patrick Mahomes, that's a good signing for them. I like that for them. I like that for him very much.
Not to mention they just lost McCole Hardman. They just lost Juju, so he's going to have opportunity depending on if they bring anybody else from the draft or bring anything else for receiver. He's obviously going to have an opportunity, and I love opportunities when Mahomes is thrown to you.
Yeah, he is the big. Look, that's exactly what I said. Not a big signing, biggest signing of the week. We're in the dead zone, man. Like this show is destined to be over in 5 minutes. This is the dead zone for NFL. They don't have many of them. We're about to hit the draft, but that's where we are, right, Richie? Now, biggest signing of the week. I mean, I'm a Tampa fan, right? We signed. I forgot something, Neil. We signed a safety from Seattle who was their starter for most of the year last season. Wants to prove he's a starting quality safety. Had some All-Pro votes this last year. So, and for me, that was the biggest signing of the week because it means that Tampa no longer has to use first or second round pick on a safety, but it's a safety, right? So, all right, biggest signing of the week. Yeah, we do need to have a roundtable game for weeks like this, and maybe this week I'll give you a call, George, and you can come up with one for me. What do you think,
rock, paper, scissors?
I mean, for what though? Look, how about this? We rock, paper, scissors. If you win, you didn't actually lose the Odell board bet.
Hey, let's do it.
I am not.
D-Now, you heard it.
I'm gonna let them play you for it though. Since,
okay.
You know, and actually, the last little bit of news I've got is that Tyreek Hill plans to retire after the 2025 season. Says he wants to go into business. Says he wants his body to still be intact. Says he doesn't want to take more concussions. So he's going to play out this Dolphins contract till the very end, and then he's done. What do you think about that, Rich?
I like it for him. I like it for him, and I like it for him setting that kind of trend for other NFL players and everything. What, he's already been in the league for at least 5 years, right?
Yeah, so going through the 2025 season would put him at his 10th. He would have 10 NFL seasons. So, that's a long time. The average is still somewhere around 3 years, 2.5, 3 years for an NFL player. So getting to 10 is obviously a good bit more, right? So he's he's a burner, and after that many years, maybe he thinks he's going to lose a step, and what makes him special won't be as good. I don't know. You see a lot of guys hang on too long, but the money's enticing and people stay. I'm happy for him. I'm happy honestly, of all this, I'm happy for the Dolphins because it sounds like they're going to have him through the 2025 season.
Yeah. Well, two things also from this is, look, if you want to sit here a fantasy aspect wise and stuff like that, okay? All right, we have a timetable for him now. So do you take your shot and try to get the value for him now? Or you know what? Look, he could give us 3 solid seasons. Just write it out and get all the points you get from him.
I played Dynasty in the way that I value assets for the next couple of years. I often hold on to guys far too long and then watch them die on my bench. But, I really keep guys during their peak. And I think if Tua can stay healthy, or if the Dolphins get a quarterback that's not Tua that stays healthy, like I think that offense is going to be the best or one of the best in the league. I know George is watching, so I just gave him, I don't want to get inappropriate here, but I just made George excited. So I think that's going to be one of the best offenses in the league, and to have the best wide receiver on one of the best offenses in the league for the next multiple years, even if he retires at 2025. Now, the problem is if you don't sell him now and everybody knows he's leaving in a couple of years, like this year, next year is the only time you can get rid of him. After that, people are going to say, okay, you may get lucky and trade him to a contender, somebody who's trying to get up over the top, but you're not going to get full value for what you're giving up. So, and then George got the eggplant.
So, since George is in the chat, I'm going to bring this up. I don't know if you saw that video of Tua out throwing. Have you seen that where it looks like he's put on some weight going for this offseason and everything? Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It's not like he was a runner. So putting on a little weight, maybe trying to bulk up a little bit to and I also read he was doing some kind of taekwondo or jiu-jitsu or whatever in order to figure out how to land so he doesn't land on his head every time he falls. So that's not a bad thing either, right?
Not bad at all.
I know he's been working. So I have been a Tua doubter as far as it goes, but I do remember it was tank for Tua right before he had that injury. So there is talent there. At one point in time, everybody thought he was the next big thing. He got derailed for injury, and then other names cropped up and knocked him off. Herbert showed out a little bit early, and everybody was saying, "Oh, well, Tua's the wrong pick," but maybe not. Not if he can stay healthy. He was looking good when he was healthy. So
Yeah.
I'll be happy for George if I have to eat a little bit of crow on what I said last year, and he actually comes and plays well. Like I said, it's literally just the concussion thing that freaks you out now.
Yeah, that was a nasty one.
So, well, guys, that is the end of the NFL notes. There was not anything going on this week. So, if anybody out there is desperate and lonely, Junior Poke, the Dimitri fan, keeps posting. You can catch him hopefully on YouTube and talk to him because he's super lonely and would love for you to chat with him. But if you'd like to talk to us, toiletstitles.com, videos, articles, the NFL, all NFL fantasy content. You can also, and then George, look at the weapons Tua had his first 2 seasons versus Herbert. I agree, George, that Herbert had a much better situation first couple of years. And they're saying don't end it. It's too soon. Look, I know. Hey, Junior Poke, the Dimitri fan, join us on Patreon. Jump into Patreon. We'll invite you to Gilded. You can chat with us there. A couple bucks will get you in. So it's toiletstitles.com/Patreon. Again, we have shows coming up Tuesday. We have Giant Show. We have George doing mock drafts every which way from Sunday. George is throwing mock drafts out there like the rest of us, spend cash. It's just like mock draft after mock draft. He's just doing it. So we need to get, I guess we need to get Dimitri his own sub channel, correct? Is that so he doesn't bother anybody else? Is that what you're saying?
Sub to our channel.
There it is. Okay. So with that, for Frito next to me and for me, Jason, I am going to say goodnight and thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Easter or your Monday morning on your drive to work. See you.